Makebi Zulu exposes secret government plot to access Edgar Lungu's body. Family in shock. In a shocking revelation, Makebi Zulu has come forward with claims that have sent shockwaves through Zambia. An alleged secret government plot to access the body of the late President Edgar Lungu. According to Zulu, this was not a routine legal move, but something far more troubling, raising deep questions about respect, power, and motive. The Lungu family is said to be in complete disbelief, describing it as a betrayal of trust and dignity. But what exactly did the government want with the body? Who authorized this move? And why now, months after the funeral disputes that divided the nation? Tonight, we uncover the full story, from Makebi Zulu's claims to the government's silence, and the Lungu family's emotional reaction. Stay with the Stati Uniti. Welcome to InspirAfrica Official, your home for factual, documentary-style analysis on Africa's most powerful stories. In this episode, we explore a deeply unsettling twist in the saga surrounding the late President Edgar Lungu's legacy. Reverend Sumaili and Makebi Zulu have both accused government officials of secretly attempting to access Lungu's remains, allegedly under the guise of national interest. As Zulu's statements ignite fresh outrage across Zambia, new questions are emerging. Was this a legal procedure or a political message? We'll trace how this story began, examine the legal and moral implications, and reveal the Lungu family's private response that has left the nation stunned. Let's begin. A new political storm is shaking Zambia. Makebi Zulu has revealed explosive details about an alleged secret government move to access the body of late President Edgar Lungu. The Lungu family calls it a betrayal of dignity, while Reverend Sumaili has publicly condemned the act as unthinkable. In this in-depth documentary, InspirAfrica Official investigates what really happened behind closed doors, exploring political motives. The revelation that rocked Zambia. Zambia woke up to a political earthquake, a revelation so shocking it sent ripples from Lusaka to Johannesburg. The man behind it, none other than Makebi Zulu, the fearless lawyer who stood by Edgar Lungu through every legal storm, and now, even after his death. During a tense and emotional press briefing, Makebi faced the cameras with fire in his eyes and a trembling firmness in his voice. He didn't mince words. We have credible information that certain government officials are secretly trying to gain access to the late President Lungu's body, under the guise of a forensic examination. The family is deeply disturbed. Within minutes, chaos exploded online. Hashtags like #LunguBodyPlot and #JusticeForECL dominated social media. Citizens demanded answers. Others were simply stunned, asking, why now? What could the government possibly want with the late president's remains? Makebi hinted that this wasn't about medicine or law, but about control of history. According to him, there are elements within the system desperate to manage the truth surrounding Lungu's final days, or perhaps to erase traces of sensitive evidence connected to his last moments in South Africa. He described it as an orchestrated attempt to own the narrative, to ensure that whatever story the public hears about Lungu's death serves political convenience, not truth. The claim reopened deep wounds between the Lungu family and the state. Wounds that had barely begun to heal after weeks of disputes over burial rights, legal permissions, and alleged political interference. And just like that, the nation once again found itself divided, between those demanding transparency and those warning, let the man rest in peace. Zambia was on edge. The silence from the authorities only fueled more suspicion. Inside the alleged plot, what Makebi claims. When Makebi Zulu stepped up to the podium, few expected the avalanche of allegations that followed. His words weren't just passionate, they were explosive. He spoke of what he called disturbing intelligence, information suggesting that unnamed officials in both Zambia and South Africa were quietly coordinating a plan to re-examine Edgar Lungu's body under what he described as false pretenses. According to Makebi, the official explanation sounded harmless enough. A secondary forensic verification, supposedly required for international documentation linked to the repatriation of Lungu's remains from South Africa. But behind that bureaucratic language, he claimed, was something much darker. They're not seeking truth, they're seeking control, Makebi said. This is not science, this is political surveillance disguised as procedure. Someone wants access, but for what purpose? He suggested that certain individuals might be trying to tamper with evidence, alter official reports, or uncover private materials that the late president may have had with him before his death. Documents or data that could reshape the story of what really happened in those final days. Sources close to the Lungu family told InspirAfrica that the pressure had been building for weeks. Officials allegedly contacted the family's lawyers multiple times, citing international clearance protocols. But to the family, the timing and the secrecy felt suspicious. "We were told it's just formal paperwork," one insider revealed. But something felt off: the tone, the insistence, the way they avoided details. That's when Makebi Zulu stepped in, taking charge of the situation and advising the family to reject all requests until full transparency was guaranteed. Now, Zambia is left asking, is this really about law and procedure, or is someone trying to rewrite the final chapter of Edgar Lungu's life? The family's response: fear, anger, and determination. When Makebi Zulu's shocking claims hit the airwaves, the Lungu family was blindsided. What started as a quiet mourning period quickly turned into a storm of fear, confusion, and fury. Inside their Johannesburg residence, the atmosphere reportedly turned tense as phones rang non-stop and emotions ran high. According to family insiders, Esther Lungu, the former First Lady, broke down upon hearing that government officials might be trying to access her late husband's body. In tears, she allegedly declared that Edgar must be allowed to rest in peace, not become a political weapon. That same night, family members held a private meeting, swearing to protect the former president's dignity at all costs. A close relative later told InspirAfrica, "We will not allow anyone, no matter how powerful, to disturb him again. He was a leader, a father, and a husband, not an experiment for politics." For them, this alleged plot wasn't just a bureaucratic issue, it was personal. They saw it as a final insult, a political attempt to control Edgar Lungu's story even in death. Makebi Zulu, standing firmly by their side, vowed to take the battle to court if necessary. He called the alleged plan unconstitutional, inhumane, and deeply unethical. "The late president's body is not government property," he declared. "Any attempt to interfere with his remains is a violation of both human dignity and the law." His words instantly polarized the nation. UPND supporters accused Makebi of stoking division for political mileage, while PF loyalists rallied behind him, calling him a patriot defending Zambia's fallen son. Behind closed doors, legal teams are now quietly preparing to block any official access orders, setting the stage for yet another legal and emotional showdown between the Lungu family and the state. Government reaction, denial, and counterclaims. As Makebi Zulu's revelations spread like wildfire across Zambia, the government wasted no time responding. Within hours, the Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security issued a sharp rebuttal, calling the claims baseless, misleading, and intended to incite public distrust. No arm of government has made, or intends to make, any move to interfere with the late President Edgar Lungu's remains. The official statement read, "All procedures related to the former head of state were carried out in full compliance with both domestic and international law." The statement aimed to calm public outrage, but it also raised new questions. If everything was routine, critics asked, why was the family approached at all? And why would a respected lawyer like Makebi risk his reputation on what the government calls rumors? Political analyst Bwalya Mumba told InspirAfrica, "Makebi Zulu is no amateur. He's a lawyer who understands evidence and defamation laws. For him to go public with such claims, it suggests that the family has seen or heard something that truly alarmed them." Meanwhile, government insiders quietly insist that any mention of access to Lungu's body was purely administrative. Perhaps a technical request linked to South African legal documentation concerning repatriation, insurance, or international verification. But public confidence remains shaky. Opposition figures accuse the government of damage control, while pro-UPND voices accuse Makebi of manufacturing drama to keep PF relevant. Adding to the confusion, leaked reports suggest that some correspondence did occur between Zambian and South African authorities, though officials maintain it was procedural, not political. Now, Zambia stands divided once more, between those who see a family under siege and those who see political theater in motion. Either way, the controversy refuses to die. The bigger picture, control, legacy, and 2026. Beneath the surface of legal arguments and public denials lies a much deeper struggle, one that transcends the courtroom. It is a struggle over power, memory, and control of a legacy that refuses to die. Edgar Lungu, even in death, continues to shape Zambia's political destiny. His name still provokes fierce loyalty among his supporters and deep resentment among his critics. For many within the Patriotic Front, PF, he remains a symbol of resistance against what they perceive as political persecution under the UPND government. Makebi Zulu's shocking revelations have done more than trigger outrage. They've reignited the emotional and ideological battle for ownership of Lungu's story. To the PF, the government's alleged interference is seen as an attempt to humiliate their fallen leader and erase his achievements. The party's factions, once divided, suddenly find common ground in defending his honor. In rallies and on radio stations, PF loyalists now echo one defiant message: respect our leader, even in death. For President Hakainde Hichilema's administration, however, this controversy is a political minefield. The accusations feed into an already growing narrative that the government is obsessed with Lungu, unable to move on, and fearful of his lingering influence ahead of the 2026 elections. The optics are dangerous, especially in a nation where emotions often shape ballots more than manifestos. Political analyst Dr. Chisha Kalaba summarized it best. This is no longer about Edgar Lungu's body. It's about who controls the story of Zambia's recent past, and who will control its future. Amid the rising tension, one haunting question persists. Why does Lungu's body still matter so much? Because in Zambian politics, even in death, Edgar Lungu remains a force too powerful to bury.